All right. First of all, I'm really happy to see so many people here. I kind of missed you because we didn't have CKAN Monthly Live recently, so I'm really glad that you're all here. And I suggest, yeah, let's kick it off. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone. And thank you for joining our CKAN Monthly Live number 18. We are going to have, thanks, Joe. We're going to have a very interesting session today. We have Emma Kisa here. She's a data analyst at Code4Africa. And she is the lead for openAFRICA, which is the largest independent repository of open data on the African continent. And we are going to be talking about how CKAN is fueling the platform. Before I give her the mic to present herself and the organization, I just want to admit people, and I want to say a few housekeeping things. So I'm going to start with the agenda. The introduction is taking longer because we have many things to announce. We are going to have a short update from Alex Gostev, who's going to tell us a bit more about their progress on CKAN 3.0. Then we're going to have the presentation of Emma Kisa. Then we're going to have a Q&A session, and then we have the closing as usually. We will try to squeeze that into 60 minutes. Of course, feel free to drop if you have other things to do. There is a meeting doc. I posted it in the chat. I will post it again for newcomers. You can add things to the agenda. You can suggest a topic for our next meetup. And you can also leave your contact information. We usually encourage you to leave it there, to say what brings you to CKAN. Any kind of information will be useful to all the people here. Just a few announcements before we start. So we have the new CKAN Monthly Newsletter. You can check it on the blog. You can also check it on LinkedIn. And if you want to subscribe for it, you can do it via this link that you see on screen. I'm going to drop the link to this presentation once again. Another exciting thing, I'm not sure if Adria is here on the call. If he's here, maybe he can also jump in quickly, but there is big and very exciting news. CKAN is now recognized as a digital public good. The application is done by OKF, and the endorsement is by the Digital Public Good Alliance. This is a huge thing for CKAN because basically it's like it recognizes CKAN as a digital public good tackling 7 of the 17, I think, United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. This is amazing, and it just proves that CKAN is pivotal in addressing global issues. Yeah, pretty awesome news. Another thing, I saw Robert is here. He can also jump if he wants to give some updates. So as you probably know, the University of Pittsburgh and datHere, Joe Natividad is here. They actually won a grant for the POST program, which is by the National Science Foundation. There were some discovery interviews done, which was phase 1, and now they are already inviting us all to phase 2, which is sense-making workshops. If you want to know more about how you can contribute and generally what's going on with the project, you can click the link on the screen and you're going to see a blog post. In the blog post, you can find information about the workshops, at what time they are. You can subscribe for attending a workshop. Yeah, there you go. Bob just pasted the link. Thank you. Asking questions. So if you want to ask a question, you can either raise your hand and go ahead, or you can just wait for the Q&A session. And also just to flag to people that the meeting is being recorded and will be uploaded to our YouTube channel. All the links that you need will be in the chat, and also everything is available in the meeting document. I will paste all the links once again. Now, before I give the mic to Emma, I think we can have a quick update from Alex, and then we will move to the core presentation.
Thanks, Joanna. Hi, everybody. So just a brief update so you know what we're doing in terms of making CKAN 3 happen. We're working on filling the backlog right now, which will be the foundation for the roadmap to come. So first issues are there. They're publicly available in the GitHub, CKAN GitHub, on the task force board. There also we have solution hypothesis and problem hypothesis. Conversation still moves on, still goes. Thanks a lot for everybody who are participating. It's really valuable to get as much input as possible. So when we had discussion and guys from Switzerland came in, it really helped into understanding the problem better. So we have several open discussions right now, and amount of these discussions would basically be higher. So it's more and more things to discuss, and based on these discussions to advance the issues into solution and delivery category. So it works, we're engaged, we're moving forward with this, and now we are preparing the ground for the delivery. This is the main thing we have at the moment. I'm really encouraging you to participate. Then when we have a task force formed, then we would need more resources in order to deliver updates faster, because then the time constraint would be the main thing to tackle. So I'm encouraging you to check and to participate. And the message is that every company that would like to participate in the development of the new version of CKAN, basically to advance the product, to decrease own costs, to make it easier to use, having more reach, is encouraged to participate in the initiative. So we will have very particular things to discuss and very particular things that we researched and that are needed by users. And if your company has own ideas and have focus and stuff to contribute, I'm really encouraging you to participate. This is the right time. We are laying the foundation for the positive impact to happen. Thank you.
Great, Alex. Thanks. Thanks for the updates. Now, I just made Emma a co-host. So Emma, can you please tell me if everything is okay on your side and if you can share your screen?
Okay, I will do that and let you know.
Thank you.
You can also let me know if you can see it.
It's coming. Yes. Yeah, it's great. Yeah, we see it.
Okay, wait. Should I jump in?
Yeah, I think it's time.
Thank you so much, Joanna, and thank you all for having me today here, and congratulations on making it to the digital public good. The congratulations is for CKAN as a system, but also the community that has made it what it is, and that is everyone here. So congratulations on that. Okay, so today we'll be looking at how CKAN powers openAFRICA, and I'll tell you more about what openAFRICA is and what we do, but that is what we're talking about today. Before I talk about openAFRICA, I'd like to talk about Code for Africa. So Code for Africa is the one that runs openAFRICA, and it is the continent's largest nonprofit ONSINT and civic tech support network. And we have physical offices in 22 African countries and counting. It has so much that it does as an organization, and we also are a custodian to WANA Data, which is a network of civic tech and journalist women across the continent. So it's specifically for women. It also is a custodian for African Drone and Census Africa, among others, as well as having a consortium of partners that we coordinate across the continent. So that is Code for Africa, and I'll tell you more about it and its role that it plays with openAFRICA. So that is me, Emma Kisa. I am a data analyst, as Joanna said, with Code for Africa, and I am the openAFRICA lead for the platform. Along with me on this call is Xavier Franklin, who is our tech lead, and he will be interacting with us further in the Q&A when we get a chance to hear from you on what you think about the platform and what you think about what you have learned today. So on the call, we have me and Xavier to take us through what we are going to be looking at today. What we have today, we'll be covering why is there a need for open data in Africa? Well, is there a need? We'll see that. We'll be looking at the features that openAFRICA provides for our users of the platform, and then we will also be looking at what our team deems the best features of CKAN that we use here. So that is what we'll be covering in the 30 minutes that I have been given, and we'll just jump in. So why is there a need, or is there a need for this? So what you are looking at on the screen is two different offices in Africa. So our reality is what we are looking at. We are realistic about data availability. I think there is a myth that there's no data in Africa, and that is not true. There is a lot of data that is produced by governments, by NGOs, by CSOs, by international organizations as well, all across the continent. So we cannot rightly say that there's no data in Africa. And if you ever hear that's a myth that is not true. However, the data is there. It's just that it is not open. It is not available for use. It's not available for reuse. So what we are looking at right now is the two Gazette offices for Nigeria and for Kenya. So this is data that has been collected very well by the governments of Nigeria and the governments of Kenya. And this is how it is kept and how it is stored. It's stored in broken shelves. It is stored in rooms with leaky roofs. And it's most importantly, it is stored in reports and on paper. And it is something that cannot be accessible. So we cannot be able to access it if we needed the data that is in there, data that has been collected using donor funds, using taxpayers' money, and by very, very advanced researchers, is being kept in this situation, in this state. So this is our reality as Africa. So I have said this is Nigeria and this is Kenya, and it's not just for these two countries, but this state is seen across the whole continent as well. So data in hard copies, data that is not accessible to people across the world, or even just say in this continent. So that is the reality that we have on our continent, on the African continent, for the data that is available, but also for open data and trying to have it available. So is there a need for open data? We need to prioritize open data in the continent in order to combat unreliable data hosts. The image you see on screen is from New York. Yes, it's not Africa, but it shows a state that Africa is in as well. So that article noted that there are more than 2.2 million hyperlinks on New York Times. Hundreds of thousands of them are completely inaccessible. So this is to give us a picture that if this is happening in the New York and it's 2.2 million hyperlinks that are not accessible to people who have been presented them for them to access the information on there, the situation is worse in Africa. We have that same situation on the continent where we have brilliant journalists who have done work and worked on their research, as well as researchers, as well as other political people who have worked on reports on different kinds of articles, and then they want to offer the data that they have used for you to investigate it, for you to interact with it, but then there are broken links that are on this as well. So that's what that is the need that we have on the continent, to have greater accessibility to data, to have data that is open. So open data is important for actionable information. When data is open and available, we have a number of things that will go right. I mentioned international journalists that can use the data in their articles, in their investigations, in their reportage. We also have policymakers who can have this data, find it, to reuse it and enable stories that are accurate and informative and timely. So that is what we want to present. That is the need to have stories that are accurate, informative, and timely. They need data, and the data has to be accessible to them, has to be accessible to their audience as well for this to go ahead. Furthermore, a need is for the researchers, and this is researchers at all levels, who need to analyze and interpret data to explore issues, solve problems, and predict trends. And I make a note of researchers at all levels, because we'll have researchers who are advanced, who are working at the institutions of higher learning, like universities, like colleges, that need this data. But we have also seen researchers who are doing their undergraduate and they're working on their thesis, and they're looking for data to use so that they can have accurate communications that will solve problems, explore issues, and predict trends. So that is the great need for open data on the continent. That is the great need that we have, and it's the need that we want openAFRICA to meet. So hopefully by now I have made you see the need for open data on the continent, and why it should be something we are talking about, something we are pushing. So there is a great need for that currently. I'll move on to the platform, openAFRICA. So what do we offer? Who are we? Who is openAFRICA? So openAFRICA is Africa's largest volunteer-driven open data platform. And I say it is volunteer-driven. It aims to be the largest independent repository of open data on the African continent. And yes, volunteer-driven, independent repository, but it is a platform that is run by Code for Africa, which is why I started by introducing Code for Africa to us. So openAFRICA is a grassroots initiative maintained by Code for Africa, that is CFA, and it's the largest independent repository for the African continent. And I say independent repository because even as we have seen the images that I have shown you of the data that is sitting on shelves, sitting in behind closed doors, we also appreciate that different governments have their own statistics websites, their statistics offices, and they collect data about their own countries. We have seen this very well in Nigeria, where their statistics office has a website that is up to date and gives information that is readily available. So that is in Nigeria, in Kenya, and in South Africa. They have dependable data, but then we will only find Kenyan data on the Kenyan website, which is KNBS. We will only find Nigerian data on the Nigerian website, which is NBS, and same goes for South Africa as well. So we are saying independent because it is not of one government, of one organization, but it is different people who are coming together to have data in the one place, so that it is a one-stop entity, a one-stop place for data. That way, I mentioned earlier how we can have international journalists and yes, international across the different countries, even in Africa, where we are having collaborations happening. Someone will come to openAFRICA and will find data on Nigeria. And if they need a comparison, they will find data on Senegal, data on Rwanda. So we aim for it to be a one-stop place for, say, data. And the data is intended to be actionable. You will hear how I repeat the word actionable, because it is very important to us that it is used. So meant to be analyzed, visualized, shared, and used to inform, to build tools or offer services. Okay, so I want to share the features that, that the platform has. We can upload data. And this is a very good thing because we can upload data in a number of formats. So there are various accepted formats on the platform, where we have CSV, XLS, we have GeoJSON, and more. So I have a story on this. We had one of the organizations that is uploading data on openAFRICA, and we were explaining to them how they can use CSVs, which are our recommended format for tabulated data. But then, because they are an organization in Morocco and they have some characters that if you put them in a CSV, they will be lost in translation. They needed to be putting up their data in XLS, and we were just grateful that that is also a format that is accepted on the platform. We can link to already existing data sheets through harvesters and APIs. We can download data that is already on openAFRICA for reuse. So that is something that is very important for us, is that there is no need to reinvent the wheel. If someone already had the data, scraped it from wherever it was and put it up on the platform, then the next person who needs the data will just have to come and download a clean, already analyzed, already scraped, already cleaned data set. So no need to reinvent the wheel. Find data sets that are difficult to access elsewhere. That is also one of our greatest achievements, that we have data sets that are easy to find anywhere. You Google it and you'll find it. While we also have data sets that are not so easy to find, but you will find them on openAFRICA as well. So the last of the features I'll be highlighting is that you can make requests for data that can be found that cannot be found elsewhere. So if you come onto the platform and looking for data on rainfall patterns in I don't know, Malawi, and it is not there, you do not find it on the platform, then you can go ahead and make a request for that data to be made available, and our team will work on that, find the data and upload it onto the platform. So those are the 5 features that the platform has that I wanted to highlight. There are quite a number of others that we have, but these are the ones that I wanted us to highlight. Okay, so openAFRICA in figures So this is for the last 3 months. We have had 40,000 users. So these are users in the continent, so African users, but we also have, they're also consisting of users beyond that, outside of the continent as well. So 40,000 in the last 3 months, using the data that is up there, using the platform, requesting data, yes, but downloading data that is already on the platform as well. And then the data sets that we have up on the platform are 6,000, just over 6,000 data sets that are available. And these are data sets mainly from Anglophone speaking countries. So we have them in English, but we have a number of data sets that are up also in French. So we want to have, because Africa has the Anglophone speaking section and the Francophone speaking section, and we do not want to leave out one over the other. So we do have data sets up there as well that are Francophone speaking. So we have data from Senegal, data from Morocco, which is in French as well, data from Cameroon and other French speaking countries, as well as the Anglophone speaking countries. And yes, the Anglophone speaking data sets are the most, but as we continue, as we go ahead, we'd like to see that we have an equal amount of data sets for all speakers, so that one does not feel left out of this. We have requests that I mentioned. Currently, we have 122 data sets requests that are on the platform, and it's not the only way you can request. So these are made on the platform, but we have a form where you can request data through that form. So the 122 is not all the requests that we have, but they're just the ones on the platform, and you can request further using the form that is on the site, so that we can find data that is not already on the platform. Lastly, on openAFRICA in figures, is that we have just over 1,000 members who are contributing to this data. So who are signed in with organizations, who are asking for requests, because that also is a contribution to the platform. And yes, that is openAFRICA in numbers. I am winding up. I want to look at our partners. I'll just take a sip of water. Okay, I just wanted to highlight some of the unique partners that are using the platform, organizations that are using the platform for their data, open data needs. We have Oxpeckers. Oxpeckers is Africa's first journalistic investigation unit focusing on environmental issues. So the kind of data they are putting up right now is mine closures in South Africa. They have poaching numbers in Rwanda and the likes. So that is Oxpeckers, one of the organizations. We have WASAC, and WASAC is from Rwanda, and it's their Water Sanitation Corporation. And the kind of data they have on there is vector files, vector tiles for rural water supply systems. So that is some of the data they are keeping up. We have TAFRA, which I mentioned in passing earlier. They are a Moroccan organization, and they want to put up data on election in Morocco. So they have that data up on the platform as well. And finally, another organization, the partner that I wanted to highlight was Census Africa. So Census is also maintained by Code for Africa, and they are a science initiative that uses sensors to monitor air pollution. So they let people know through data what is the quality of the air in your cities across the continent. So those are just 4 of the partners that I wanted to highlight. that I wanted to talk about who are having their data on the platform as well. Okay, so this is the final part of today's session, and we wanted to highlight the best features that CKAN, that we have found, that my team has found for CKAN. And openAFRICA runs on CKAN. This is the first time I'm mentioning that, but that is why we are here. We run on the platform, and we have found it to be amazing and just what we need to meet the need of supplying open data and maintaining open data on our continent. So why we like CKAN. Okay, one of the reasons we like CKAN is independent uploads. So we use the platform to allow different users to individually upload and maintain data sets. So that is very important to us because we wanted it to be an independent repository. So since it is possible for it to have independent uploads, that is very important to us. And yes, with the oversight of Code for Africa, whereby we will vet every organization before they get onto the platform, before they get assigned an organization and start uploading. So there's that, and my team as well will regularly look at the data sets to see that they are aligning with what we want them to align to, that they are working for our users. But that is one thing that we like about CKAN, that there are independent uploads. Another one is the data requests. I cannot speak about this enough. The data request section is where we interact with users, and that is very, very key for us, so that we hear back from them, we hear what they need on the platform, and then be able to get it for them and put it up on the platform. So that is a big one, data requests on the platform, and that is one feature we love about it. Another one is that it has helped us empowering various projects that we have been able to. So just because CKAN helps us have open data available and accessible and up, so that is very big. It has helped us powering projects. On the screen, you can see a number of images, but I'll speak of the Outbreak COVID-19 project and the Pesa Yetu project. Currently have hundreds of interactive data visualizations that are running in those projects, and they are being powered by data that is on this platform. So all those projects, their data is up on openAFRICA, and when people need to investigate the data, to download the data, they will be directed to the platform. And so this platform is helping us power various projects. The other thing is that it helps us in being a part of multimedia projects. The other two you are looking at are two stories and multimedia projects that were published. One is called Makoko, and it had all the data and all the reports that were written about, that were used in this story, in this multimedia project, are also housed on openAFRICA, as well as the other one, which is about origin and destination of Chinese-owned vessels. And this was a multimedia project that was about the Guinea EEZ, and all the projects, all the reports and data that were in that project are up on openAFRICA. So that is why we like CKAN. It makes us, gives us the system that we need to be able to be a part of such projects and multimedia projects as well, that help us make sure that data is accessible, data is available at any time that it is needed, whether it is someone is directed from a project, whether someone is directed from a published multimedia work. We can see that that person will find data. They will not have a broken link because the data is on openAFRICA. They will not have a link that has been moved or a link that is behind a paywall, but they will find the data that they need just because we have made it available. We have made it accessible through scraping it and getting it from wherever it is and putting it up on the platform. So that is why we like CKAN. And just this is the end of my presentation. To go back to the two images, the images that you saw of all those reports that were in the offices, Code for Africa worked with its team, and we scraped all the data and made it available online so that it's accessible and it is reusable for anyone who needs it. So for all the gazettes that were in Kenya and Nigeria, we had a project where we scraped them and made them accessible and open to everyone that needs it. Okay, that is my presentation. We can take questions now, but over to you, Joanna.
Thank you. Thank you for the great presentation. Really, really nice project. Yes, let's open the floor now for a Q&A session.
I'm just wondering, since you're organizing all that data for the whole continent, are you also harvesting from different CKAN portals? Or is everything being uploaded to one central portal for the different member countries? Thank you.
Thank you so much, Joel, for that question. And yes, we are harvesting. So we have a number of APIs that are running on the platform, as well as having data that is uploaded onto the platform. Yes, so Xavier, you can jump in any of the questions so that you can give a response. But yes, Joel, we are harvesting.
Great. The quick follow-up question there is, do you have like a standard schema that everybody uses, or you just use the standard metadata schema? Just wondering how you, so I'm sure the scope, you have thousands of data sets. I'm just wondering how you manage everything. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Joel. On this one, I'll ask Xavier to give a response as well. But before he jumps in, my stand would be that we do not have a standard schema, but when we are uploading data, there are a number of things that need to be checked, especially for the metadata, and there needs to be a source, a maintainer, a contact for the maintainer. So we do have that list that someone has to check when they are uploading the data, but I would not say that we have a standard schema. Xavier?
Thanks, Emma. Maybe just to clarify further on that, Joel. By the standard schema, I mean that the standard schema that is provided off the CKAN's API that at least gives us the structure of how to upload data.
Yeah, I guess so you did. My question is, did you customize that, or you just use the one that came with CKAN? Yeah.
I think for one of the partners, Census Africa, we've slightly customized it. So this is on the Census Africa side, where when you do a push, but on openAFRICA side, it's pretty much what we cloned from the original CKAN.
Okay, can we consider your answers, your questions answered, Joe?
Yes.
Okay, great. Then let me. Okay, you can go ahead, Alex, and then we'll go to the chat.
Yeah, it's a quick one. So just to understand who's behind the openAFRICA, how many developers, data stewards, publishers. So what's your team composition? Just to know, to understand who manages this such an impactful portal, because we all saw the numbers. The portal really works, it delivers value. That's truly impressive.
Okay, Thank you for that question, Alex. So our team is two-tier. We have the data analysts, and then we have data lab, and then we have the tech team. For the data lab, we have 6 data analysts that are working on the platform and are assigned to different tasks as they come in. So for the tech team, we have Xavier, who is the in charge of openAFRICA from the tech team, but then it is a wider team beyond him. How many are in the tech team, Xavier?
Oh, we are 6.
Okay, so that is 6 and 6.
That's quite a solid team. Thank you.
Thank you, Alex. Okay, so question from the chat. Let me read that one and then I'll give you the word. Sorry, because I'm trying to read it. So could you explain how to prepare data such as data classification is the question from Aline.
That question is not so clear. I don't understand what you mean by data classification.
So that's why I wanted Aline to kind of explain exactly what he is asking, I'm guessing. So you can clarify if you are still on the call.
Okay, so while Alain clarifies on that, when I was giving the presentation, I talked about how CFA, it's all under CFA's supervision. And one of the ways is that when an organization asks us to keep their data on the platform, we will vet it. We will then, once we think that it's an organization that has the same drive that we have for open data and they have the data, we will then have a training with them. And through this training, we are going to teach them how to upload data sets, what the data should look like so that it is presentable on the sites. So we have that training prior to having them on the platform and prior to giving them admin and editor access for that organization. So I do not know if that speaks to Alain's question, but I wanted to make that clear.
All right, thank you. Let's give the mic to Zacillo as he's raising hand.
Yeah, thank you. She actually just answered my question. I just wanted to know if they have a centralized system, a database through which everything is going to CKAN, or they actually. But she just answered it that when someone needs it, they fix the arranged infrastructure for them to be able to upload data in CKAN. That's because my question was if they have a database where all the data comes in before it goes to CKAN.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
All right, question from Jesiah, I'm guessing. Please excuse me if I'm not pronouncing your name as it is supposed to sound. Okay, so is there some process for vetting individually uploaded data before it's being made public?
Thank you so much for that question. I'll go with Everlink. It's easier than the first name for me. But I spoke to vetting before, but unfortunately we do not vet. When we have given the organization the rights, it is an independent volunteer and independent upload. So we do not see the data before it goes public. And so that is why we are running regular checks as a team to check that the data is meeting standards, that the data is right, that the data is also meeting all the standards for open data, as well as mis and disinformation in this day and age. So that is what we do, but we will not do it before it goes public. There are some data sets that can be made private, and we will not have access to those before. Having said that, we have admin rights as the people running this, and we can pull down any data set at any time. that we deem is not fit for the platform, but that has not happened yet.
Thank you. And the pronunciation was correct. Thanks.
Glad to
Thank
hear
you.
that. Yes. Okay. So next question. How does openAFRICA verify data providers or contributors and ensure the accuracy and integrity of the data they contribute? This is a question from Elliot, pardon. I'm having some hard time with your names.
Elliot, thank you for the question. I think that I have spoken into it verily, but we verify the organization before we give it access to. So it's an organization that is one that knows what, like, say if it's an organization that they're putting up political data, then they are known in that space. So we will verify an organization before it uses the platform, but we will then, after the data is made public, be having regular checks of the data. But it's the organization that we verify. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Emma.
Sure.
Thank you. Okay, Stephen, you can go ahead.
Cool. Yeah, so thank you, Emma. It was an awesome presentation. I just had a quick question around your greatest success story with a data publisher or an organization. You mentioned at the start that you might have some troubles with, I guess, data sovereignty, where corporates or some national states might hold on to data that is really best made open and for the public good. With openAFRICA, are there maybe one or maybe two or three great success stories that you just think, because you've got the portal, because you've put all this work in, you have seen change, you've seen people open up data for the public good?
Thank you, Stephen. And I would answer that to the gazettes that we went and worked on scraping and liberated. It was not everyone could be given access to a government office to get all the data, put it together and scrape it, but we were given access because of the footprint that we have across the continent and the footprint we have in open data, and that is what opened us the door that we were able to have this task, great task of liberating such data from two different country offices. So that's for Nigeria and Kenya. So I think that would be the best case story that I can come up with right now. There are quite more, but off the top of my head, I wanted to mention that one because doors opened for us because of the platform that we have in openAFRICA, which speaks a lot about our desire to have data accessible for use and reuse.
No, that's great. Thank you. And I've seen that with other organizations as well. The more they act in an open way, the more they act with the intention to publish data openly, the more responsibility they're given because people like good, trusted actors. So that's awesome.
Great. Let's pick the next question from the chat, and that would be Mohab Khaled. I think I pronounced your name correctly this time. Okay, so I'm coming from a development site also. We are suggesting CKAN as a candidate solution for some portals serving South African national agencies. I just want to ask about the difficulties you face during development process and some of the areas you wish CKAN would be improved at. Great question.
Great question. I'll let Xavier take that one.
Thanks, Emma. I'd say as far as development is concerned, we really didn't have a challenge as much because our CKAN setup, that is openAFRICA, is really kind of customized version on top of what CKAN has. And at least for our setup, it's available on openAFRICA as a public repository, just to view on how we did it. What I can say that along the line, what we've faced is that at least we got some lag in terms of upgrading for each version of CKAN. Right now, we're running version 2.8.11. I think as we discussed in the meeting, we are working towards version 3. So just that delay in doing like timely upgrades, that is what we faced as a challenge over the past few months. But as of now, we're working to kind of speed that and at least get to the latest version, that is 2.9. But as far as the whole documentation, how we did the setup, it's available now on our repository. Thanks.
Thank you. Mohab, if you want to follow up or something, feel free to raise a hand and go ahead, or you can just leave a comment in chat. Next question is from Alexei. Why you don't use facets or filters in your catalog? Do you have any issues with that?
Thank you. An interesting question there, because we do have filters on the site, and we have found an issue with those because the filters are below. If you choose a data set, you can miss the filters because you're not seeing them on the screen at the start. So that is an issue that we are having, and we are currently working on a redesign, which will then take the filters above any data set that you will come across. So the filters are there. We have filters by tags, by country, by groups, but they are not in a position that can be easily seen. So that will be fixed by the redesign that we are currently working on.
Okay, thank you, Emma.
Yes, I think the question of Ivan, if I need to pronounce it in Slavic language, is related to that, because he's asking why you disabled faceted search on the portal. Okay, so there is a comment from Augusto. He's saying that I find it really interesting that you have a tab for tracking issues related to solving problems. Solving problems that people might find with each specific dataset. That helps keep a virtuous cycle of improving the data quality. And also we have a question from Augusta after that. How well do you evaluate the experience with the dataset issue tracker? Have data publishers been responsive to problems that data users support?
Great. Thank you so much, Augusto, for the question. We do have that, and it's a very good asset to the platform. However, it has not been used, not as often as it should be. So our users are not using that. So I cannot say that the publishers have been responsive or anything like that, because the users are not using that asset or that feature yet. So we're hoping that with the push of open data and openAFRICA along, then people will understand that they are able to question a data set and give that input. So not many people know how to use that feature.
Thank you. Okay, so let's move to the next question. Okay, so let's go with Augusto's follow-up question. Do you have difficulty in fighting spam in the issue tracker? Because he's saying that he found a lot of spam in a link he's sharing in the chat. Sensor Africa Quality Archive.
Yes, I have followed that link and I've seen all that spam there. We are having difficulty fighting spam because we are doing it manually. So spam is a lot in the issue tracker, but as well as the data request, and we have a lot of spam coming in. And over the years, we have just discussed one solution after another, but it all ended up to doing this manually, deleting the spam. So that's an issue that we are facing. It would be good to maybe, if we are able to block someone or to deal with the spam in an automated way, but we have not yet found that issue. I think that we can only delete it manually, which is a lot of work.
Okay. Let's move to, like, I'm aware that we are overrunning, but I pointed out at the beginning that this is a possibility. So yeah, I hope, yeah, let's just have the questions from chat and then we can wrap it up. Okay, next question from Ivan again. So why don't you aggregate African geodata portals and portals data and open research repositories?
Well, that is something that we can consider moving forward. I don't know, there is no reason that we have not been doing that, but with such a suggestion, it's a great suggestion and something we can put in our future plans.
Okay, great. Now there is a long comment from Richard Dennis. Richard, do you want me to read it or you can go ahead?
Yeah, hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, first, thanks very much for your presentation, and I will spare the reading of it, but basically, we are looking at a number of different solutions, and I'll try to explain the scenario. We have a lot of researchers who provide or upload their data in domain-specific repositories, and the thinking is we want to continue to allow that practice because researchers believe that the way to maximize or reach the community is to put their data in domain-specific repositories. However, the institution is very keen on collecting the metadata from that repository, at least understand where it's living, so that they get a calculation or get an understanding of what data sets are being uploaded in other repositories. In your investigation or in your project, have you come to understand the possibility of CKAN becoming a metadata catalog? We have looked at other solutions, and I won't name that solution here for the audience, but we have looked at other solutions, and one of the solutions we looked at, it's pretty rigid in that no matter what you upload to it in terms of the metadata, it wants to mint the DOI. And we really don't have a preference or a desire to mint that DOI. So we were looking at CKAN as a potential solution. I know it's a really super long question, but I'm very curious about what you have discovered during your particular project. And I will close my mic and take the answer offline.
I am so sorry. I was in and out of your question and I missed some of it. Can it be summarized? My connection was in and out for a bit.
We can let Alex answer if you want, because it's a general CKAN question in terms of working as a metadata catalog. I can answer. The answer is yes.
Here.
You can use CKAN as a metadata catalog. In fact, it's primarily used as a metadata catalog, and the use case you talk about is probably quite ideal for CKAN because you can have different endpoints for data assets and data resources and such. And you don't have to mint the DOI. It won't force a DOI mint. That's more of an extension or plugin.
Okay, great. Well, that's all I need to know. Thank you.
Okay, so let's finish with the question from the chat. I think disabling public, that's regarding spam. There is a comment from Jesiah. I think disabling public registration and only creating accounts on request should help a lot in reducing spam. Then,
sorry,
yeah.
it's probably mostly bots that are creating data sets automatically. And if you prevent them from signing up, then I think you will avoid a lot of that.
All right, thanks. Then question from Ivan, do you have plans to collect microdata and statistics indicator from African country statistical agencies? And then he's saying that you can let him know if you need a list of African data sources to collect more data sets.
Thank you, Ivan, for that. Yes, we do plan to have data from African countries' statistical agencies, and we have some up. Some of them have been uploaded. Some we are using APIs for that and Vestas. And to answer your question, yes, we would welcome a connection to African data sources. I'll put my contact in the chat so that please reach out and we continue this conversation.
Okay, great. So, okay, so let me read the comment from Mohab. He's having a follow-up for Javier. So I've been trying CKAN for a reasonable time now. I just want a bit of a reflection regarding customization and front-end. When it comes to the backend, CKAN is, thanks to the team, super, but earlier on, Emma was showing the dataset page, which, for example, uses filters that reload the page each time a filter is applied, opposed to, for example, making an AJAX request. So, which makes the site a bit chunky. It's issues like these that I want to know, how do you come about? I think that's a question to Javier. Maybe we lost him. All right, let's then, while we're waiting for him to rejoin or not, so last question from Elliot. Considering the data is from different countries, regions across Africa, how does openAFRICA manage data, ensure compliance with data regulation policies? Do you have a data governance framework?
Okay, thank you so much, Eliud, again for that. Considering different countries, we do not have one, what did you call it? Data and compliance one, but we are always learning and we are always searching for what is best for open data. And there's a lot that keeps coming up and new compliance, things that need to be compliant are coming up for organizations that are a part of data sharing. And so we are always learning from those as well. As I said earlier, we do have a standard where we will train an organization that comes up that desires to be a part of the platform, train them on best practices, show them what the data has to look like, show them that we need the metadata to be up, and just what is needed. But I cannot say that we have one document for that. However, the Global Partnership for Sustainable Development Data just released just a write-up about effective and ethical data sharing at scale. So that is something that we are currently, my team is going through to make sure that we are checking all the boxes, crossing the T's, dotting the I's. And from this, we are then planning to create a document that we shall be using with the organizations that want to use a platform. So currently, there's nothing in place that we can say this is our document for compliance, but we are working on it, especially based off of what the Global Partnership for Sustainable Development Data has shared and what is out there. So to answer your question, we are always learning about what is the latest and what is the best for open data sharing. for individuals, for organizations, and the likes. And we are working on having a document that we will then be sharing with all the organizations that want to work with us on openAFRICA.
Great, thank you. Okay, I think that was the last question, and I think it's time for us to wrap it up. Joel is dropped a link to the next sense making workshop, which is going to be on adoption. I think Joe will be leading it. And it's targeted to developers, existing end users, and prospective users. You can follow the link and register for the workshop tomorrow. Yes, confirmed by Bob that Joe is leading tomorrow. All right, let me now. Okay, let's go to closing. Thanks everyone for the great and active participation in our today's meetup. And special appreciation goes for our guest. Our guest, I would say, because it was Emma and Javier or Xavier. Yeah, your openAFRICA is a great project and it has a transformative power. So we are really glad that we had this presentation. Now, a few words for closing. I'll try to keep it short. I know we overrun a lot. So if you want to present to CKAN Monthly Live, yes, I can see some thanks, thank yous. Okay, so if you have idea or you want to share some story or you want just to present on CKAN Monthly Live, please do not hesitate. You can fill out the form that you see on screen. I'll drop a link to the presentation probably once again, although it is in the meeting document. Or you can contact me directly. We'll be really happy to have you on our meetup. If you have some suggestions for topics or speakers, or yeah, you just want to see something explored in our next meetup, also feel free to add that suggestion to our special document. Your input helps us ensure that these meetups are valuable and meaningful to everyone. So we'll appreciate your input. If you need an newsletter, okay, sorry. So we have a newsletter, as you know. You can subscribe. The link is on the screen. It's monthly. We share valuable information and updates from CKAN community. So feel free to subscribe. I actually encourage you. If you need some assistance with CKAN, or if you're interested in contributing, or anything that you want to know related to the community, just go to our community page. The doors are always open. There are plenty of ways you can connect and communicate. You can ask questions on Stack Overflow. You can chat with the whole CKAN community on GitHub and many different channels. If you have any kind of security questions, you can contact CKAN security@ckan.org. And of course, let's stay connected. We have social media channels. You can follow us on Twitter, on LinkedIn. We have a LinkedIn group. We have a YouTube channel. This recording will be uploaded there. We also post some information on the blog. So yes, follow us there. And I think with that being said, I am ready to go. Thanks once again. We are ready to go, not only I. Thanks once again for the great presentation, Emma. And thanks for thanks everyone for the active participation. It was pleasure.
Thanks, Joanna. Thanks, Emma.
Right.
Thanks, everybody. Ciao, ciao, ciao.